Hello and greetings. Bound Together Books and Northern Lights Publishing bring you Authors Exchange, short interviews with indie and traditional authors, with your host, Joseph Carrabis. Today's interview is conducted by Northern Lights Publishing editress Jennifer Day. Today's guest is Nashua, New Hampshire-based author Joseph Carrabis. Joseph has authored over 20 fiction and nonfiction books covering everything from neuroscience to anthropology to social ecology to science fiction, fantasy, mystery, and horror, and all deeply rooted in his own life and experiences, which has led his sister, Sandra, to ask, did we grow up in the same house? Joseph will be signing, reading, and answering your questions about authoring at Bound Together Books on Saturday, 21 March 2026, 6 to 8 p.m.
Hi, this is Jennifer Day, editress at Northern Lights Publishing, interviewing Joseph Carrabis, author. Say hello, Joseph.
Hi, Joseph.
All right, so we're going to start with the easy first question. Who are you and where are you going?
Yeah. Who am I? The response to that I believe is most accurate and I really love using is I am becoming. I remember being in college, or maybe it was even in high school, and seeing one of the original Godspell productions in the theater. And in the version that I saw, the actors come on stage and portray various philosophers throughout time. And Buckminster Fuller, character Buckminster Fuller, comes out and says, I am not a noun, I seem to be a verb. And that I think it was in high school, that just really locked to me. Because yes, people are not static, they are dynamic. They can't help but be. Mm. You know, you have Mexican food, not offending to Mexican, but you have spicy food one night, you're a different person the next day, at least I am usually. So I am becoming, I'm constantly becoming. I hope to God I'm constantly becoming. Susan and I, for those of you who don't know, Susan, beloved wife, partner, princess, say hello, babe.
Hi there.
That's her. You know, she and I often say to each other and anyone else who cares to listen, we are so glad we're not the people we were when we got married. Yeah. Because I would kill that son of a bitch. He was a rotten bastard. So, you know, and where am I going? Getting into mythical traditions around the globe, I'm going that way. Because all mythical traditions, no matter where they came from, except for one in the Amazonian basin, they consider the Western direction is the direction of spirit, and that's where we're all going. Where eventually we're all going to be spirit.
All
so
right.
there you go.
Coming over here.
Yes.
All right. So
she's in Oregon.
I'm on the West Coast and he's on the East Coast. That's why I say he's coming over here. I'm way ahead of you on getting there. I have a whole country between us. Okay, so someone was new to your work. Which one or two, I think two, which works would you suggest they start with and why those?
I would probably say a good sampler would be either of the Tales Told Around Celestial Campfires books, purely because they are samplers. If you know nothing about me, you can get an idea of what types of things I write, my style, my voice, my diversity. And that would probably give you an idea. Oh, he writes science fiction, fantasy, horror. He does something interesting with characters. He relies on dialogue. He really locks in place, setting.
Yeah.
And hopefully you'd go away saying, my God, this guy's amazing. I must get more of his books.
For sure. Okay, let's try a process question. What's one writing rule you happily break?
writing rule that I happily break. Well, according to my editress,
Happily break.
happily. Well, he is gleeful. I have trouble with semicolons, colons, and commas. The comma thing I'm aware of because to me, punctuation is a method of pacing.
Right.
And I do a lot of my pacing literally through language, through word choice, through structure of a sentence. But I also recognize there's a different stop, if you will, between a period, a comma, semicolon, colon, em dash. And I use that. So a lot of times where there should be a comma, I won't have one because I want the conjunction to do the work. These two things are joined. They're not separate items. These two are joined in the reader's mind. So that one I happily break. And I also make up words, which so far everyone says, I know what it means, but I couldn't find it on Google. If you know what it means, why are you looking it up on Google? So,
little certainty sometimes is nice.
yes.
Okay, if someone were adapting your work for film or TV, what's the one thing, a feeling or a type of moment or a visual that you'd want them to always keep? Like, what's the essential thing they have to get right for it to be Joseph's work?
I think in every one of my novels, I'm not sure if this is the case in the short stories, but at least in every one of my novels, there is at least one scene where whoever is in the lead, protagonist and significant other person close to the protagonist, have a demonstration of love, which can be verbal. It doesn't have to be, bump and grind. It can be a simple touch. But I want that to have meaning because my personal belief is that doesn't matter where you are in life, what's happened to you in life, where you're going in life, if you are loved and you know you're loved and you're able to give love, it's two ways, then you're going to be okay.
All right. Okay, last question. I kind of wrote this as two questions, but what are you curious to experiment with next? Form, genre, audience, or something else entirely? Or if that doesn't land for you, what are you excited about next? What's next?
Well, I just received 19 pages of notes on one of my stories, a longer short story, probably novelette length. So I'm going to be working on that. Got some really excellent feedback. And I want to point out, and I appreciate this may sound like an ego question. A lot of people come to me for help with their writing because I'm such a severe critic, not a nasty critic. I will go after the work, not the person. And I will do my utmost to help them achieve their goals, not my goals, but their goals for their work. So receiving 19 pages of comments is gold to me. I'm also working on what I think is going to be a short novel, maybe 60, 65,000 words, that takes place off of one of the islands off of Nova Scotia. And the reason it is such a joy to me is I have a lot of historical ties to Nova Scotia, and it has a lot of Gaelic in it. And for those of you who don't know, Susan and I have studied Scots Gaelic, God's language. And it's just one of the most musical languages I've ever encountered. And I've studied quite a few languages, so I'm comfortable saying that. And I'm looking forward to getting into that. The story is about a young boy who accidentally kills his brother. But he realizes it was an accident. he only meant to get his brother to do something, to stop his brother. But he didn't realize the total consequences. So it's really about him coming to terms with that realization, owning it, admitting it to himself fully. And because, excuse me, because it's one of my stories, it involves mysticism and spiritualism and other entities and creatures from the other side of the cosmos. Because, hey, how else are you going to figure this stuff out?
That's right. All right. Well, that's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was Jen, the editor's day, and me. Thanks, Jen.
Bye.
Thank you for watching this Authors Exchange. Authors Exchange is brought to you by Bound Together Books and Northern Lights Publishing. Would you like to schedule an author event at Bound Together Books? Go to http://nlb.pub/author exchange. That's on your screen, and one word, Author Exchange, with a capital A and a capital E to begin the process.